We have a birthday in the house, a dog birthday that is. My youngest dog, Misha, is turning 2 years old today, so I'm going to bake her a birthday cake. I will actually do that for all my dogs. I have 3 German Shepherds. Unfortunately, my oldest one is now in doggy heaven, also has passed away a few weeks ago. So he doesn't get a cake, but he does get his party hat and a candle. But I still have my 2 other dogs, Zima and Misha. So I will give them both a birthday cake. I can't leave one out. So in this video, I'm going to actually give you 2 recipes. The first one that I'm going to make right now is basically made out of ingredients that you have at home. You don't really need to buy anything special. It's quite a few ingredients, but it's really simple to do, and the dogs will love it. And at the end of the video, I will give you the recipe I used last year, because I started doing this last year, and that was based on mostly like various dog food and just a couple of other ingredients. So it's just as easy to make. You have to buy a few things for that, but the dogs will love it either way. So you can kind of decide what you want to do. I will have all the ingredients and the measurements and the directions listed below in the description of the video. But the measurements might change depending on your situation, because you might take out one ingredient and put something else in, and now it will be a little bit different. So the basic things you need to remember is that you need to have flour, eggs, and peanut butter. These are the things that will keep together whatever it is you put in this recipe. So you might need to add more flour if it's a little bit too runny. You might have to add a little bit of liquid if you find that it's too hard or too dense. So the measurements are just there as a guideline. Just kind of work with it. Either way, it will work out fine. You're going to bake this just a little bit. I mean, the dogs really don't care. It will taste good for them either way, but you don't want to fall apart. So that's basically the reason for baking it. The cake turned out okay. I guess it wasn't very pretty, but I didn't really care so much. It's for the dogs anyways. The main thing is that you want to make sure it doesn't really fall apart in the oven, and I was worried about that. So you can always add more flour. That's the whole point. The flour is kind of like glue. It will keep it a little bit harder. Last year, I thought it was a little bit too dense, but either way, the dogs are not going to complain. You can't really undercook it or overcook it, because all the ingredients could be eaten by the dogs even raw. So it's really not a big deal. Last year, what I did was, so this is recipe number 2. I basically used their dry dog food, and then I bought a few canned dog food. Those are always, much better. They taste really good. They're a little bit more moist and have some liquid to them. So I used those, and I added the flour, the eggs, and the peanut butter to keep everything together. So I just formed it into a ball for each dog, and I just kept adding more and more flour until it wasn't so thin. It was kind of runny first, and then I just baked it in the oven. I didn't really have to bake it too long, maybe like 15 minutes. This time it was more like a half an hour. and it kind of formed like a bread, like a big round bread, as you could see, and they loved it. So that part is easier because you have less ingredients, but you do have to buy some more dog food. This recipe I had used today, these are things that you probably have at home. You can also add chicken instead of hot dog. Hot dogs were a lot cheaper, but you could use chicken or any kind of other meat. You could add some vegetables because you know dogs eat vegetables, so you could add like a can of green beans or things like that. So you can totally change it up. You just want to remember eggs, flour, and peanut butter. That will keep it together. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. It was kind of interesting. The hard part is to keep the dogs lined up so I can take a picture or a video. That's the hardest part. Everything else is easy. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and you can maybe take some inspiration to make a birthday party for your dogs. So if you have a dog from a shelter, which I always support and recommend, you obviously want to know the birthday. You can just pick any day and call that your dog's birthday. If you have more than one dogs, doesn't matter, you could have that one day dedicated or designated for all their birthdays, and then you bake a cake, get some party hats, get some candles, and have a celebration. So your dogs will thank you and they will be very happy. I thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time. This is actually kind of bittersweet for me because of course I'm happy that my doggies are healthy and growing up, but I was hoping I would still have my third doggy with me, or really he was my first, and I would have never thought even a month ago that he would not be here now. But I'm still honoring him. I feed him every time. I put the bowl down for him. So of course I will have to do the same thing for his birthday this time. Happy birthday, Misha. You are now 1 year old. Zima, you are 4 years. And also, you are 8 years old. Happy birthday, babies.